Hi guys, how you doing? It's me Sam, welcome back to another video. So I've got a lesson for you today talking about notes on the fretboard. Now this is something that confused me for a long time, so I thought I'd make a lesson about it. This is something that now I've spent some time learning this, it's really helped me communicate with other musicians, it's helped me improvise, it's helped me play over changes, all sorts of good stuff that this is good for. So let's jump in, here we go. Okay, so keyboard versus fretboard. I've got a picture of a piano here. The reason why I like to teach notes on the fretboard of a piano is because it's so much easier on a piano. On the guitar fretboard, every note is kind of created equal. We don't have any special way of knowing what's a sharp and what's a natural note. However, on the piano, you've got white keys and you've got black keys. So what does that mean? The white keys are your natural notes, those are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then the black keys each have two names, they're sharps and flats. Yeah, that's just something that we have to deal with really. A little bit of knowledge on the piano can go a long way to playing the guitar better. So let's talk about 4 rules. E doesn't have a sharp, F doesn't have a flat, B doesn't have a sharp, C doesn't have a flat. If you have a look at the piano keyboard, you've got white notes which are next door to each other a couple of times with no black key in the middle. And that's exactly what I was talking about with E being next door to F, without an E sharp, without an F flat, and B being next door to C. There's no B sharp, there's no C flat. So 4 rules for you to learn. E doesn't have a sharp, F doesn't have a flat, B doesn't have a sharp, C doesn't have a flat. And if you've got those 4 rules, then you can start walking up and down the strings and start naming the notes. Okay? So before I go any further, there's a little trick that I'm going to be talking about shortly. And what that trick is, if you learn these 2 strings, if you learn the E string and the A string, then with some octave shapes, you can get the other 4 strings for free. Okay, that's a third of the work, getting all of the results. And like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be really good for improvising, it's going to be good for communicating to non-stringed instrument musicians. You know, it's going to be good stuff. So let's crack on here. Okay, so let's learn the E and the A strings. I've got a drill that I like to do for this. I'm going to start on the E string, I'm going to play chromatically ascending, and I'm going to shout out all of the note names. The tricky thing, like we mentioned on the piano keyboard, is those black keys have got 2 names. When I'm ascending, I'm going to talk about the sharps, and when I'm descending, I'm going to talk about the flats. So first of all, ascending, this is an E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. So once again doing that slowly, this is an E, there's no E sharp, straight to F. F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. This is the other tricky one, there's no B sharp, we're straight to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Okay? When I go down, I'm going to talk about the flats, so I get all of the lingo. I'm going to, you know, practice all of the different ways of saying those black keys. So this is an E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, E. So one more time slowly. This is an E, E flat, D, D flat, C, and this is one of the tricky times. We're going to go straight to B, there's no C flat, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, that's the other tricky time, there's no F flat, we're going to go straight to E. Same on the A string going up, this is A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. One more time slowly, this is an A sharp, B, B doesn't have a sharp, straight to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, E doesn't have a sharp, straight to F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and backwards with the flats, just like we did on the E string earlier. So this is an A flat, G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A. Nice and slow again. So this is an A flat, round to the G again, G flat, F, one of the tricky ones, no F flat, straight to E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A. So I'm just thinking about those 4 rules that we mentioned earlier, and I'm just going up and down, starting to memorise those, and that's the next step. Okay, so let's talk about some of the octave patterns on a guitar. So I've got another little picture for you showing where all of the C's are. Okay, so I'm just looking at these 2 C's here. So I've got a C on the E string at fret number 8. I've also got a C on the A string at fret number 3. Now the first octave shape that I want to talk about is if you take what you do on the E string and you add 2 frets, you get the same note on the D string. It's like a power chord octave shape, right? Okay, so both of these notes are C. So by knowing the E string, I've got the D string with a simple rule. Okay, now the next octave shape, same kind of deal. I've got fret number 3 on the A string. Just by adding 2, I've got the same note on the G string. Okay, another octave shape. Whatever I do on the A string, if I take 2 away, I get that same note on the B string. Okay, and now whatever I do on the E string, you know, by the name of the string, it's going to be the same on the other E string, right? That's the double octave there. Now this works for any note that you play. So let's do that again with C. So there's my octave to get the D string. There's my octave to get the G string. There's my octave to get the B string. And there's my double octave to get the high E. So I'm only thinking about these 2 C's, and then with those patterns I'm getting all of the other ones for free. Okay, let's do that with some other notes. Let's do that with E. So these are my 2 E's that I've learned. Like I mentioned earlier, learn these 2, then you get the others for free. So I've got open and fret number 7. If I add 2 to open, I get fret number 2 on the D string. If I add 2 to what I did on the A string, I get an E here on the G string, and taking 2 away, I get an E on the B string, and then whatever I do here is the same there. Let's do one more. Let's do sort of a tricky one. Let's do A. There's a little bit of a hiccup that happens with A. So these are my 2 A's, and if I start off, that's working nicely to get the D string. That's working nicely to get the G string, but then I can't take 2 away from open. So in those circumstances, go up the octave. So fret number 12 is also an A, and I can take 2 away from that. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do F. So these are both F. Those are the 2 that I've learned. Here's my first octave pattern. Here's my other octave pattern. And that one. And then whatever I do here is the same. Okay, so I've got a drill for you. I'm going to play the same note across every string. And just to make it a little more stressful, I'm just going to introduce the element of pressure and have a little metronome. So let's just put a little metronome into my loop station. So I'm going to start with E. I'm going to go through F, G, A, B, C, D and E. I'm just going to try to stay in time here. That was E. That was F. That was G. That was A. C. D. and back to E. Sounds a little bit like Mario 64 when you start a race. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, guys. That's been super useful for me. You know, it's really helped me out learning the notes on the fretboard. To begin with, I didn't want to do it because most of my favourite guitar players shot from the hip and weren't too concerned with music theory. But playing in bands with keyboard players really lit a fire underneath me to start doing this. You know, if you're playing in a band with just bass guitar player and another guitar player, you can get away with saying, okay, this riff starts fret number 8 on the E string. But as soon as you start playing music with people who don't play guitar, you realise how limited that can be. So I definitely recommend a little bit of music theory, and it can really help you go a long way. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please click the like, it helps my channel out. Please subscribe and come see me for some more videos, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers, guys.